She walked into court in handcuffs, calm, quiet, and fearless. They said she was a criminal, but when the Admiral entered the room and called her a hero, the world finally saw who she truly was, a Navy SEAL who never stopped fighting for the truth. The courtroom buzzed with whispers as heavy boots echoed down the marble floor. The guards pushed open the large wooden doors and brought in a woman wearing simple clothes but walking with calm confidence. Her wrists were locked in steel cuffs, but her eyes carried the quiet strength of someone who had seen war. Her name was Maya Cross. She was a decorated Navy SEAL, a sniper who had saved countless lives in operations no one outside the military would ever hear about. But today she was standing in court accused of a crime she did not commit. The media called her the Black SEAL gone rogue. The soldiers who once saluted her now looked away, pretending not to recognize the hero who had trained half of them. The prosecutor smirked, whispering to his assistant, "She thinks she is a hero, but we will break her today." The judge adjusted his glasses, ready to make an example out of her. For weeks the case had been the talk of the nation, a mission gone wrong, a missing officer, and $1 million secret that no one dared to speak about. Maya's lawyer was silent, a young man assigned by the court who looked terrified to even stand beside her. He whispered, "You should take the plea. They want you to admit guilt, and they will reduce the sentence." Maya only turned to him with calm eyes and said, "I will never admit to something I did not do." The judge struck the gavel. Silence in the court. Maya Cross, former Navy SEAL, is charged with disobeying direct orders and endangering lives on mission Echo Storm. How do you plead? Her voice was steady. "Not guilty." Gasps filled the room. The prosecutor laughed, quietly. "Not guilty." He repeated mockingly, "You fired on your commanding officer. That is treason." She looked straight at him and said, "I fired to save his life, not to end it." The judge frowned and said, "We will see if that is true." The trial began. Witnesses lined up. Documents were shown, but none of them told the full story. What no one knew was that a high-ranking admiral had been watching everything, waiting for the right moment to enter. Months earlier, deep in the Afghan mountains, Maya had led a covert SEAL team. They were sent to rescue a captured informant and retrieve sensitive data, but things went wrong fast. The team was ambushed. The informant was dead, and their commander, Captain Hayes, was injured and trapped. Through the smoke and chaos, Maya crawled through bullets to reach him. She saw a sniper scope glinting from a ridge. She had seconds to decide. She took the shot. The bullet hit Hayes' shoulder, knocking him to safety, but saving his life. When they returned, command accused her of disobeying orders. They said she was reckless, that her bullet endangered the mission, but the truth was darker. Someone in that mission wanted Hayes dead, and Maya had ruined their plan. The memory haunted her nights. She had lost her rank, lost her badge, and now she was losing her freedom, but she refused to lose her honor. In the courtroom, the prosecutor kept shouting. She aimed at her own commander, and the data from the mission is still missing. She sold information. The crowd murmured, people judging her without knowing the truth. Maya's hand trembled, not from fear, but from anger. Then the courtroom door opened. A figure in white naval uniform walked in, tall, sharp presence, demanding respect. The bailiff turned pale, whispering, "Admiral West." "Sir." The room fell silent. The judge paused, unsure what to do. Admiral West was one of the highest-ranking officers in the Navy. He never attended civilian hearings. Yet here he was. He walked straight to the front, ignoring everyone, his eyes locked on Maya. "Remove her handcuffs," he said quietly but firmly. The guards hesitated. "Sir, this is protocol." The Admiral turned to them with a stare that could freeze fire. "I just said remove them." The clink of metal echoed as Maya's cuffs dropped to the floor. For the first time, she rubbed her wrists and stood tall, her military posture returning like a soldier at parade rest. The Admiral looked at the judge and said, "With all due respect, Your Honor, this woman should not be standing here as a criminal. She should be standing here as a hero." Gasps filled the room. The prosecutor jumped to his feet. "Sir, with all due respect, this woman." The Admiral cut him off with a voice of steel. "You were not there, I was." He pulled a folder from his coat and placed it on the judge's desk. Classified mission reports, stamped with red clearance labels. "This contains evidence of what really happened on Echo Storm and who set her up." The judge looked uneasy. The prosecutor tried to object, but the Admiral silenced him again. "One more word, and I will have you removed from this court." Maya's eyes widened as the Admiral turned to her and whispered, "You saved Captain Hayes, you saved the entire operation," and someone tried to bury that truth to protect themselves. The courtroom turned into chaos as the Admiral's words echoed. The judge opened the file. Inside were photos, videos, mission recordings, and decrypted data logs showing a shocking betrayal. Captain Hayes, the very man Maya had saved, was the one who had sold coordinates to the enemy. The ambush had been planned, and Maya's bullet had exposed his double life. The prosecutor went pale, realizing his case had just fallen apart. The Admiral continued reading logs. Hayes accepted payment from a foreign contact. Maya discovered the deal and fired to prevent his escape. The judge looked stunned. "This is treason against the United States." The Admiral nodded yes, but not from her. Reporters scrambled to capture every word. Cameras flashed. Maya stood silent, tears finally forming in her eyes, not from fear, but relief. Captain Hayes had already disappeared, but his guilt was now public. Maya's name was cleared completely. The Admiral turned to her and said, "You have served your country with honor, and it is time we honor you back." The court erupted in applause. The same people who had doubted her now stood in respect. Days later, a private ceremony was held at the naval headquarters. Maya stood on the stage wearing her uniform again, this time with a new Medal of Honor placed on her chest by Admiral West. He said, "You fought for truth when others hid behind lies, and for that the Navy will never forget you." The crowd clapped one last time. She looked up, whispered to herself, "They thought breaking me would silence me, but now my story will speak louder than ever." Like, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories that remind us true strength comes from within.